So my goal as a young man was not to go and get girls and do all of this stuff. It was to grow up and be a successful businessman so I could get rich and take my parents' stress away. Everyone's good at something. If you haven't found success, you've not found the thing you're good at. And I didn't really crack it and make super money, do super well until I found marketing. Working in a digital marketing agency, 500 employees, 70 offices around the world. And I really disagreed with the way this company operated, the way they treated their staff, the way they treated their customers. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this better than they're doing it.
I say quite often, you have to find your passion and then turn your passion into profit. And your passion is going to drive you. So for people tuning in now, marketing scares a lot of people and they don't know how to market themselves. As you went into entrepreneurship, what were some of the challenges that you faced in those early years and how did you overcome some of those early challenges? Okay, and welcome to another episode of the Dealmaker podcast. And today I am joined by a very special guest, Mr. Mark Wright, the Apprentice winner 2014. It is his 10-year anniversary, and Mark is here to share his journey and also inspire and motivate entrepreneurs just like you and I to get out there and take massive action. So Mark, welcome to the show. I believe you are tuning in from Australia. How are you, my friend?
Liam, it's good to be with you. I'm very, very well. It's just gone Friday night here in Australia. Most people are out at the pub having a few beers. I'm doing business podcasts, and I bet you I'm happier than they are.
Well, look, my podcast is called The Dealmaker, so I'm going to hit you up straight away. What does being a deal maker mean to you?
Well, I think I am a deal maker in every sense of the word. And I love the name of the podcast because making deals, creating deals is how you find success. I don't believe you can have true success in business until you have equity, until you run your own deals, until you create multiple deals, because success becomes from experience. And it was creating deals and the deals I did with Alan Sugar that got me here in Australia living the life that I've got. So doing a deal, I believe, is creating something and creating something for yourself.
Fantastic. I love that summary for sure. Now, before you went on to The Apprentice, could you take us back to where entrepreneurship business started for you? Was it your childhood? Was it a relationship with someone? When did you know that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and get out there and set up businesses?
That's a really good question. I think I've always wanted, as long as I remember, I've always wanted to be a businessman. And when I grew up I'm not too far from where I am right now in Armidale, Australia, is a country outback town. And my mum owned a hairdressing salon and my dad owned car garage mechanics. And so when I was at the dinner table at night, the conversation was not, oh, I hate my boss, or, what jobs are out there. It was, how much should we set the salaries? How are we going to pay rent this week? The stress around the dinner table when I was a kid was small business stress, and that's real stress. So my goal as a young man was not to go and, get girls and do all of this stuff. It was to grow up and be a successful businessman so I could get rich and take my parents' stress away, because there was so much stress in our household, all caused from running businesses. So my goal was, I wanted to take my parents' stress away, and I knew to do that, it was to get financial success through owning my own businesses.
Well, you know what? I've got goose pimples because I grew up on a council estate. My mum and dad separated when I was 2, and I listened to my mum cry herself to sleep at night, just wanting to get food on the table. And I would spend hours in our local newsagents reading magazines and looking at opulent items. And very similar, I think it was about the age of 8, I made a decision. I don't know how, but I was going to become a multi-millionaire and someone really successful. And it
I
was my
love that.
mum and it was my brother and it was my family that really, really drove me in those early. It still does today, but that was the real catalyst for me. So I think that's incredible. So as you went into entrepreneurship, what were some of the challenges that you faced in those early years? And how did you overcome some of those early challenges? Was there any negativity around you? Was there maybe someone holding you back? or was there some belief issues, or what was really going for you in the early days?
Well, it was probably myself holding me back initially. I thought I hated school. I did very poorly at school, but I had this belief that I was going to be successful. I knew deep down I was going to be successful. I just didn't know how. So I had this belief that I would leave school and it would just work out. It would sort of be fine. And I left school and it couldn't have gone the opposite. Everything just went wrong. Every job I started, I got fired, or I wasn't good at, or the pay was terrible, or I just simply didn't enjoy it. I was looking at the clock waiting for 5 o'clock in every job. I couldn't wait to get out of there. So I got out in the real world and I realized it was much harder than I'd anticipated coming out of school. So there was a lot of issues with one, I just probably wasn't that sharp. I wasn't that smart. I had some experience to get underneath me, and I needed to find what was the right sector for me. I believe people who haven't found success in business, everyone's good at something. If you haven't found success, you've not found the thing you're good at. And I didn't really crack it and make super money, do super well until I found marketing. So I guess my advice to anyone that's either working somewhere where you're looking at the clock every day and you can't wait to get home, or you're not really finding that level of success, you're probably not doing what you enjoy, and you're probably not doing what you're meant to be doing. And it was when I found marketing, one, I was really bloody good at it and it didn't feel like working. And it just, I don't know, it just clicked. The light bulb moment went off and I was doing it and I was good at it. I wasn't watching to when, the weekend was. And I was like, this is the thing. This is the thing that's going to make me who I'm meant to be.
I say quite often, you have to find your passion and then turn your passion into profit. And your
Yeah.
passion is going to drive you. So, for people tuning in now, marketing scares a lot of people and they don't know how to market themselves. And with artificial intelligence and click funnels and social media channels, could you share with us, what does marketing actually mean to you? And if someone's listening to this and they haven't marketed themselves, what could be some of those initial steps in order to start getting their name or company or brand out there? What would you recommend, Mark?
Well, there's a reason I'm doing a podcast here on Friday night in my supposedly my leisure time. This is marketing. If anyone's listening to this podcast who didn't know who I was, I now have access to your audience, and they now know who I am and what it is that I do. That is marketing in its simplest form. My job every day, or our job as a business owner, is to find people who don't know who we are and what we do. Starbucks do not make the best coffee. McDonald's do not sell the best burger, but they sell a lot more burgers than you or I do, or a lot more coffees, because they're the most well-known. People buy from brands that they know, and that is really important. There's no successful companies I know that are super successful without a good marketing and sales strategy. Marketing is essential, and that can be done online. It can be done in print, radio, podcast, writing a book, speaking on stage, making videos. Whatever you feel talks to your audience and sells you and your brand the best, you need to be doing it, because it is our job. If your product is really good, it is your responsibility to get it to as many people as possible. And if you don't believe in your product enough, that's a problem as well. So if you half believe in what you're doing, you have an obligation to market it properly.
Yeah, I tell you what, I come across a lot, and they are fantastic, words of wisdom. A lot of people that are starting out, they worry about what other people are going to say, or they worry about being judged. What would you say to those people right now to help them overcome that fear?
You're going to be judged.
Yeah.
People are going to hate you. You're going
Yeah,
to have
I love it.
trolls.
Yeah.
It is, if you do anything in life, you could drive down the street, you probably cross the lane in a way another motorist didn't like. Whatever you do in this life is some people are going to love you, some people are going to hate you, and some are going to be somewhere in between. And this might shock you, Liam. I know not everybody likes me. And what I have found in my journey so far is the more success I'm having, the more stones are being thrown at me, the more trolls I have on social media, that some negative reviews my companies get that are unjustified. And a lot of the time it's because I'm doing really well, and there's jealousy creeping into
Mm,
competition, people I may have went to school with, whatever. And it's more of a reflection of who they are and their insecurities about themselves that feel here's someone doing something that I probably should be doing with my life, getting in shape, having a family, doing well in business, whatever. And they don't like me for some reason. A lot of these people have no idea who I am. And it's fine. That's just human nature. And we need to accept that and let success just be our justification and be our revenge.
yeah, people will hate about you the very thing others love about you, and
100%.
you can't have all the upside with an element of the downside. And yeah, I just don't worry about those types of people. Some people just can't be helped. It's not even their fault. You know, they may be in a negative environment right now. They see in you something they don't like in themselves. So I really, really love that. So let's go back 10 years, Mark, because a lot has happened in the last 10 years. Let's
Okay.
go back 10 years. What really motivated you to get a place on The Apprentice?
Well, I guess it's like all entrepreneurs. I was working in a business, I was working for somebody else, and I felt I could do it better. I was working in a digital marketing agency, 500 employees, 70 offices around the world. And I really disagreed with the way this company operated, the way they treated their staff, the way they treated their customers. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this better than they're doing it. And I tried to turn that business around, and that they just weren't listening. So I put together a business plan and I took it to some banks in the UK. And because I'm a foreigner in the UK, they wouldn't give me a £25,000 loan. So I was really dejected, and I was going to move back to Australia. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, bro, why don't you try out for The Apprentice?" And I said, "What's The Apprentice?" He said, "It's a TV show where an old man yells at you." And I was like, "I've never heard of it. Who's the old man?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a guy called Alan Sugar. He's a total gangster. He owned a football club and a computer company, and he's like a billionaire." And I was like, "Oh, it sounds cool." And he's like, "I'm going to the tryouts this Saturday. Do you want to come?" So I was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll come
Wow.
along to that." So I went with my friend Blake. We sent the application through, and I went down to Tottenham Court Road in London for the tryouts. And when I arrived, there were 75,000 people there. And it was just like, okay, this is a pretty serious TV show. This is like no messing about. This isn't like, in Channel 503. This is like a proper thing, right? Um, and I just kept getting through each level of the tryouts. Each week, I got a call back from the production saying, I was in the final 1,000, final 100, final 50, until I got a call from the BBC saying I was in the final 20 that went on to series 10. And I was like, wow. And then I had to quit my job. I had to give up my flat, all for £1,500 for a 6-month filming window. So to give up your job, to give up your flat, to give up your life, it's a serious commitment. And, if you get fired there in week one, you've laid a lot down to go
Mm.
out in a pile of smoke. But, there's no victory without a risk. Nothing I've ever done everything I've done successful has been on the other side of a big risk. And this was probably one of the biggest, and it bloody hell, it paid off.
What was there any moment leading up to the start of The Apprentice that you almost bailed, or you were just 100% committed?
Uh I was 100% committed. It was one of these things. Things happen. I believe I'm a big believer in gut instinct. I do a lot of deals. I do a lot of stuff just based on, I don't like that bloke. I get a weird feeling from that person. I like that deal. I like that property. I like that business. And for some reason, from the moment I put in my application to the moment I won, and he said, "You're going to be my business partner," it felt like the right opportunity. It felt like I was in the right place at the right time, and that 75,000 other people were just in my way. I was visualizing myself the whole time as the winner. And I remember when I got to the front counter at the BBC, to give them my like application number and my CV and stuff on the very first day. I said, "Hi, my name's Mark Wright, and I'm the winner of the 2014 Apprentice." And the lady just laughed at me on the reception. And the night that I won the show, the receptionist asked if she could come in and see me in the green room. And she said, "Do you remember me? I'm the receptionist from Tottenham Court Road." She said, "You told me you were going to be the winner." And I've never seen anyone predict their own success like that.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. But like you say, you took the action, right place, right time, but took the action, believed in yourself. Let's talk about visualization just for a few moments because I do a lot of visualization work. I call it getting off the grid. I visualize where I'm at in 1 year, in 3 years, and 5 years. And you know what? Almost everything comes true. And how important is visualization to you? Does it really work? Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. Give us your view on visualization and what people can do to bring things into their life.
Out of all of the things I've learned in my career, it's the number one thing. Writing my goals down, having vision boards, just thinking about what I want. If you think about your life, how can you achieve something if you don't even know you want it? If you just bring it back down to the basics. If you're a boss of a team, how inspirational is it working for a company or a person who doesn't know where they're going or where the company's going? Kind of doesn't make sense if you start thinking about it. And exactly as you said, when I go back and look at my goals from 2011, 12, 13, I can't believe how small they are. But the most staggering thing is I've achieved all of them. And my biggest frustration is I didn't set the bar higher, because just sitting down regularly with your partner or your business partner or whoever and thinking, what are we trying to do here? It makes you more motivated. But I bet you 80% of the things on that list you'll actually achieve. And then you'll be furious you didn't set the bar higher. So I think out of all the things I've learned on my business journey and, working with people like Lord Sugar and seeing him set goals and do that, if these guys are doing it at this level, what's my excuse? Why wouldn't I
Yeah.
be doing it? And it's incredibly powerful. I've never met anyone successful that doesn't do it.
Yeah, fantastic. Hang around with the greats, copy what they do, implement, and guess what? You can get the same results.
Pretty
So,
simple, right?
winning The Apprentice obviously was a huge achievement and well deserved, and a lot has happened in the last 10 years. What influence has Lord Sugar had on you? Obviously, you got your business together, Climb Online, I believe.
Mhm.
You sold that.
Yes.
You've been named as the most successful apprentice winner of all time. What are some of the lessons that you've learned having Lord Sugar as your partner for these years?
Well, I owe him a lot of success, of my success. There's no doubt about it. Not because of the fame or the stuff that I got from the show or the 250 grand or any of that stuff, but having access to him on a daily basis for 8.5 years, seeing his mindset, seeing how his teams work, seeing how they structure deals. Someone once told me if you hang around with billionaires, millions falls off them. And it's so true, is, just watching how he operates on a daily. I was like a friggin' sponge. What time does he get in? How does he dress? How does he speak to his PA? I have always believed, exactly like you just said, success leaves clues. If you see someone out there getting something and you ask them how to do it and they tell you and you do it, you should by nature get the same results. I've had daily access to one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our generation, particularly in the UK. And I was just a sponge. I was just watching how he dealt in meetings, how he dealt with staff issues, and I learned so much. I mean, the connections were insane. The just the way he mentored me and some of my board, it was fantastic. And I've taken those lessons and I find myself doing things now by second nature in my own companies, which I learned from him. And people get all weird about mentoring and coaching and all of this stuff, but I don't think I'd be where I am today, and I wouldn't have my level of wealth if it wasn't from the mentoring I received from him.
Yeah, Lord Sugar, surely has got to be one of the best possible mentors anyone could possibly have. And I think the difference is that you absorbed it and you took the action and you just put yourself in the firing line. And I really love the way that you said daily access. You just absorbed every single possible thing you could from
Yeah.
the relationship and created a win-win. Do you have other mentors in your life today, Mark?
Definitely. I mean, I pay for mentors.
Great,
I have
great, love
multiple
that.
mentors. I even, for my health, I have a nutritionist and a personal trainer. because I believe in living a life on purpose, a life by design. So my partner and I talk about braining every element of our life out, every element of our house. Our life is all, we think about it and we plan it. And if we need improvement, we bring experts in to teach us. I'm not an interior designer. Help me make my house better, make me make my health and body better. So I have still two business mentors and coaches now, and they help me to no end. My goal at the moment is trying to get one of my companies to £100 million.
Wow.
And I haven't achieved that before. I've gotten close, but I'm still not there. So I have two mentors where their businesses are 350 and 200 million respectively, because they're where I'm trying to go. A mentor is somebody who's got the results you're trying to achieve, and they impart that wisdom on you. And, I walk into companies all the time and they say, I'm trying to get to $100 million, right? Okay, well, who on your board here sold a company for $100 million? No one. Well, you kind of no chance.
Mm,
Okay, because the
mm.
people around you, what are you learning from these people? That you're the smartest person here, which is a huge problem. And you need people who are constantly pulling you in that right direction. So that's why I'm out here in Australia. That's some of the mentors that I'm working with. I still go to seminars. I still read books. I still do all of the stuff. Even though in some people's eyes I might be a success, in my eyes I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, well, I love that. I'm also an absolute course junkie. I look to go on at least 4 or 5 advanced training courses a year. I want to be upskilling in every way that I can, mind, body, spirit. I call it the triangle and being connected. I also love the gym and eating well and having a good balance. I invest also heavily myself into many different mentors and Assets for Life, my business. We're the UK's leading property business and wealth training organization. So we're also having an impact on other people and we're mentoring people. And I love running retreats as well, Mark. I go on retreats every year. And I think when you just immerse yourself in education and immerse yourself with great people that are going to pull you up, but also, give you a stern word if you need a stern word, firm but fair. I think that is one of the biggest reasons why people become successful. Why do you think it is, Mark? People then don't do this. What stops people? I know I'll have people listening to this that haven't got a mentor or they think they know better. What is it in them that stops them from asking for help?
I think the first thing is the people they surround themselves with. When I started listening to audiobooks in my car, I remember all my housemates, all my flatmates would tease me. Oh, he's listening to Brian Tracy in the car, or Tony Robbins in the car, or whatever, and they'd have some sort of like Skrillex on in their car or whatever. And what I found is when I started hanging with the right people, when I started going to seminars and I was replacing a lot of my friends or circle with people who were like me, they stopped making fun of, oh, I'm going to go and ask if I can buy that property. Now, you ask a friend or family member that, they'll tell you you're crazy and they talk you out of it. If I asked you that, you'd tell me to go for it because we're of the same cloth. We're similar people. So I think the first thing is just auditing who is putting information into me. Am I taking advice from my partner, my mum, my friends who maybe aren't the right people to give me information on success?
Mm.
And then what do I want? So sitting down and thinking, what do I want to achieve? Who have I got around me? And then a lot of the how starts coming together on its own. I know that sounds crazy, but if you just start auditing your life, opportunities present themselves once you're ready for them.
Great, great. Love that. Absolutely fantastic. And one of the things that you are remarkable at doing and really well known for is building great teams. So for anyone that is a one-man band, or perhaps they've got 5 people or 10 people in their team now, and they've got some fears or challenges about growing, what would be some tips that you would give around building teams? What do you look for in team members or senior management? It'd be great to explore that for a few moments.
That's a great question. I think the most important thing to remember that if your business is a small business and it's stayed small for a number of years, you are the problem. You are creating a bottleneck in your business, which is not allowing good people to come in and do their job. Every great business leader understands that everyone can do things as good as you can. That this, oh, people can't do it as well as me. Everything's got to come through me. Do you think Jeff Bezos is checking the invoices before the payment run at Amazon, or Elon Musk is in the zero account of Tesla? These guys hire great people, they recruit well, and they let people get on with their job. And if you want to really scale up and make proper money, the way to do that is recruiting solid people and allowing them to be great in your business and learning from them. I believe in my businesses in hiring slow and firing fast, paying people really, really well, and having a great culture. I am a big believer in going into the office to work multiple days a week. Okay, yes, work-life balance and coming in and having some days at home and all of that stuff. But I find it very hard to believe you can create a great business with a great culture where people understand the values, the brand, where their career's headed, if they don't know, who the person across the desk from them is. It's very hard to create an organization like that. So, I won UK Culture of the Year, Business Culture of the Year, and all of these awards and stuff just because I really cared for my people. And at my 30th birthday, when I was giving my speech, I looked in the audience, and the same as my wedding is coming up, actually, and most of the invitees are employees of my companies. I hate that thing businesses say is we're a family, because you're not a family, but I really care for the people that work for me. I really invest in the people that work with me and with my companies, and they can feel that I care about them. My retention rate on employees is astronomically good, and I train them to be great. If you look at some of my former employees, if you look at how many of my employees are millionaires, I've made more millionaires than the lotto here. It's unbelievable because
how does that
they're
make you, how does that
successful.
make you feel, Mark?
Amazing. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
when
love that.
when they asked me to come and look at their house because they bought a house for their family, or they put their kids in private school, or whatever it is, whatever makes them happy, I don't judge. I get more from that than I do pretty much any other area of my career.
Wow. Well, I think that's absolutely incredible. You spoke about culture and values and vision and bringing people together. And it's something which I do in my business. Look, my company's 47 people. I really would love it to be 470 people at some point in the future.
It will
But
be.
it's forever growing for sure. And I'm also a big believer in bringing people together and having fun and being firm but fair. And I think the values and the vision of an organization is what keeps people together. It's not necessarily the paycheck. And I do pay well also, and I always recommend people to pay well, but it's about what do we stand for and where are we going with this, and creating that type of movement. Now, you spoke there about work-life balance. Is there work-life balance for entrepreneurs? Do you have a balance? Are you completely obsessed? Do you have someone in your life pulling you back from time to time? How do you do it all?
Is there work-life balance? There is, and I have a fantastic balance in my life now. Incredible, best it's ever been. When I started my career, there was none. For the first 3 years, I worked like a dog, 7 days a week, really, really axe to the grindstone. I did what I needed to do to make sure my first company survived. And that was at the risk of my health and some relationships and all of that sort of stuff. But it got me to where I needed to be. And I don't regret a thing about it. Not one thing. If you want to create a business that's really something, you need to forget about work-life balance. That is for woke people who, maybe success isn't for them, and that's fine. It's not for everybody. But work-life balance doesn't exist early on. It does once you get over that sort of 3-year hurdle, in my experience. This is my experience. And I look at Alan Sugar. He doesn't work weekends. He works like an absolute dog Monday to Friday. And once it hits 5 o'clock on Friday, his email shut, his phone shut, and it doesn't open again until 9 o'clock on Monday. He's very strict about that. So he has good time with his kids, good time with his wife, good time with his grandkids, good time in the gym or on his bike. And that was a really powerful lesson for me to learn from someone I really respect and who has serious money in the bank is you do need balance to be successful, but it's just certain times in your life there isn't going to be balance. And that's part of obtaining the balance.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And it's about learning how to leverage. And that's what happens when you build a team, right? You get a great PA, you have senior management, you have people on your board, and then you're able to focus in on what your individual high income generating tasks are. I say this to myself every morning. It's part of my sort of my mantra, my success routine. What can Liam do today that's going to make the most amount of money in the shortest space of time without having to do much work? What can I leverage and
Brilliant.
outsource? And I love work and I will work 24 hours, but what can I leverage? What can I outsource? What can I get off my desk so I can then focus on the stuff that I enjoy? And look, you do a lot now. You're an author, you're a speaker, you're a media personality, you get pulled from pillar to post, you're a keynote speaker as well. So you have all of these different roles. What do you enjoy the most in your business? And what would you say are your top 2 or 3 high income generating tasks within your organization?
The most important things I do each month is I attend the board meetings for every company that I'm a shareholder in. And that is where I make the biggest decisions and I derive the most value because some of these companies I don't talk to all month. So the only opportunity I get to understand what's going on, if we're making or losing money and what the main challenges are, is in that meeting. So I enjoy that, but they're hard days. Some of them, go for 2 days, the board meeting, and they're difficult. And in some of the companies, I've got a lot of money on the line. So I really need to pay attention. I need to be on the ball when I'm in that environment. I get the most pleasure from speaking on stage. I love it. I absolutely I don't know what it is about speaking on stage, but it is my happy place when I'm on a stage in front of people. Maybe it's my ego that's happy. I don't know. But I love that. I love doing this. I love doing podcasts. I've done exactly what you said. What you do in the morning is what I say to all of the people I work with who own equity in companies is our job as business leaders is to become redundant in our own business. As stupid as that sounds, that is the goal because I had a really big exit in the last sale that I achieved with my business. And the reason I was able to achieve that was because I wasn't working in the business. So I was able to demonstrate to the buyer that I don't even go into this business. I turn up, I attend the board meeting, I shake a few hands, and then I'm off till next month. And they're like, wow, I could be that person. And that's what you want the buyer thinking, right? I can be the guy that comes in and shake a few hands and attends the board meeting, bosh, and writes you a big check. So that's how you get, and where you make serious money in business is you get it on the exit or you get it when you go public. And dividends are great and they add up, and salaries are great, but it gets taxed. The exit or the publicly trade is where you really make proper money, what Alan calls proper money. See, all this stuff's rubbing off on me. It comes out second nature now. So yeah, and that's how you do it, by bringing in great people, doing less, and asking yourself in each task, do I need to be doing this? Is this buying this plane ticket for my next trip? Is that my job or my PA's? Do you know what I mean? And it's just doing that in every task that you do.
Fantastic. And I love the way you say building relationships, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. So what is next for Mark? What is next for Mark? How do the next 10 years look? Because you're a big visionary. The last 10 years have been incredible. You've had a fantastic journey. So if we could fast forward this time 10 years, and for sure I'll get you back for a 10-year podcast anniversary. Where are you going to be in 10 years, Mark?
Probably right here doing what I'm already doing. I mean, I've just started a small airline in Queensland in Australia. We've just got our third aircraft coming. And that's a really exciting business. I love that business because it's so hard. And I always find like the harder a business is, the more intrigued I am. The reason I sold my digital marketing and got out of marketing is I didn't find it hard anymore. That's plain and simple. Getting on the top of Google Ads and getting you to the top of SEO and making content is so easy for me. It's like breathing. So I wanted to do something that challenged me, and I went into the aviation game. And Richard Branson says that the way you become a millionaire in aviation is start as a billionaire. And I can start to see why. It's the cost base is huge. The challenges and regulatory stuff is immense, but I'm loving that journey. So I'd love to see that business really doing well.
Wow.
I own one of the top PR companies in the UK. It's doing very, very well. And just helping more people. I was with I did a lot of speaking with Grant Cardone. I was his warm-up gig for the 10X tour. And he bought a G650 Gulfstream and 55 million bucks for a plane. And he said to me, come on my plane and have a boost on it. And I was like, yeah, cool. And before I got on the plane, he put his arm over my chest to stop me going onto the plane. And he said, before you get on my plane, because you're the first person to get on other than my family, you have to make me a promise. And I said, what's that? And he said, I know entrepreneurs that are going to be really successful and have their own planes one day. But you have to promise me when you have your own plane, you bring other entrepreneurs on it and inspire them and continue to help people on the journey to success, because that's what we can do for other people. And it was such a powerful moment. There was no cameras, there was no media, there was no one else there other than me and him. And it really stuck with me that, yes, making money is important, really important. That's the goal of a business, is to make a profit. You can't pay the bills with good luck and good culture and all this stuff. Money's really important. Yeah, but helping people, once you get there, help everyone else get there as well, because there's plenty to go around.
Awesome. And do you mentor people now? Is that something you do?
Less and less. Yeah. Less and less. One, through time constraints. Two, it's really frustrating because a lot of people ask me to mentor them and they're not ready for what it actually takes.
Yeah, they don't want to do the work. They don't
want it. They want me to sprinkle some millionaire dust on them and they become a millionaire. And I've had multiple goes at this, and I still mentor some people, but I don't do it as a paid gig or anything anymore.
Great. So look, people, we are nearing the end now. It's been absolutely fantastic, and you have shared so much wisdom and inspiration. So a couple more things. If someone is listening to this now and they are just starting out on their entrepreneurial journey, what would be what would be one or two tips that you'd like to share?
Get hungry to get knowledge about what it is you do. No one does better than an expert. People like working with experts. If you're in digital marketing, become obsessed with learning as much as you can about digital marketing. If you are a speaker, go and do as many free talks as you can until you're a bloody expert speaker. Whatever it is that you want to do, be the best at it. Aim to be the best. And even if you learn somewhere near the top, you'll make a lot of money from it. And stay in the fight as long as you can. Because every single time I've met someone who's done something quote unquote successful, they talk about how close they were to giving up right before they made £1 million, right before their biggest deal, right before their biggest customer. Because it's almost like the world is testing to see if you deserve it. So if you're just starting out, know that it's not going to happen straight away, but it will happen if you become an expert and you stay in the process long enough.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you being on the Dealmaker podcast. This is going to go out to a lot of people. Is there anywhere where people can hook you up, or maybe get a book of yours, or where people can come and get some of your great wisdom?
Well, as a great digital marketeer, I'm on all social media platforms. So if you search for Mark Wright, you'll see the guy from The Only Way is Essex, and just under him, you'll see me. All verified there on social media. And listen, if you've enjoyed this and I can answer any questions for you, help you with your business, you're looking for investment or whatever it might be, don't be afraid to ask. If you message me on LinkedIn, it comes directly to me. If it goes on any of the platforms, it goes to my PR team, and they're pretty hot as well. But to say, again, thank you so much for having your voice and doing this podcast and inviting me on today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. So there we have it, Mr. Mark Wright. What an incredible journey, just 10 years on from The Apprentice. And look, here's the thing. If we can do it, you can do it now. Strategy, belief, and action, not just action, but take massive action day to day, and you can truly live the life that you deserve and you desire. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you dial in to another episode of the Deal Maker Podcast.